And this is the planet's tropical zone.
It's not Tatooine, that's for sure. Captain Rex, have your men survey the area. Place as many sensor beacons as you can before dark.
Right away, sir.
For the development of the ice planet in the Clone Wars, first George came to us with a very specific idea for this story. He wanted a real circle the wagons kind of outnumbered by a very deadly native threat type of story. He wanted a lot of whiteout. He wanted a lot of snow density. What the guys and I decided to do then was take Ralph McQuarrie's original paintings for Hoth and really try to apply them to what we were doing, but make them different. Hoth, as Ralph painted it, has a lot of blue in it, a lot of more saturation of colors, and I don't think that was as much true in the film Empire Strikes Back, because they were really on location filming. We thought we had a chance to make our ice more stylized. We could push it more, create more interesting shapes, and really do an ice planet as Ralph envisioned it, originally for Empire Strikes Back. And once the texture painting was accomplished, we sat down and talked about kind of anime-esque effects where the trails underneath the speeder bikes would have more of an edge to them and be a little bit more stylized than the type of realistic sprites you might see in the previous episodes of the Clone Wars.
By the time we got to Trespass, you can sort of see the experience and the sort of learning curve on the show, because Trespass has some of the smoothest and the most lifelike character animation to date. There's some really nice, very subtle performances from all of the actors.
We can't send troopers. They'll think we lied.
These creatures are little more than animals. You can't lie to an animal. They can't be trusted.
There are subtle things happening with breath that's coming out of people's mouths when they talk. This is all stuff that probably wouldn't have happened if we had made this particular episode earlier in the season. But it just, all these sort of little finishing touches to give the thing some life really sort of help get people involved in the story, because the characters just seem that little bit more alive.
We had different densities of snow and different speeds of snowfall that we wanted to parallel the type of story or the story beat that was going on. And if you watch the moment when Chuchi buries the hatchet with the Tal's leader, is the moment that the blizzard cuts, and then suddenly the snow all drifts very gently down. And the environment in that episode is very much a part of the story.
How do you plan on communicating with these things?
Patience.
Well, say something.
Just shut up.
The Tals inhabit Orta Plutonia. Visually, they work really well on the snow planet. They have a language barrier. I think that worked really well for the story. But it's always funny when, people come up and say, well, but what are they burning in the fire? I'm like, wow, you really worried about that? That's amazing. I don't know what they're burning. Perhaps there's an area under the ice where there is some type of foliage that you could burn. I remember a painting that Ralph McQuarrie did of tauntauns under the ice where they are actually eating a grass type substance on Hoth. So if you fans think that you ask a lot of difficult questions on the blogs and on the web pages, you have not met my design team.
I mean, it's an ice planet. It isn't even like Hoth, where Hoth has rocks and snow. This is really meant to be just ice. And it begs the question, what do the Narglach eat? Do the Tals eat each other? That was the whole thing, because in the script, the totem poles outside the Tals village are made of wood. And I just, asked Dave, they used all the wood on the whole planet for totem poles? I mean, what's burning in the fireplace in their igloo? Because if there's nothing but ice...
Perhaps they're burning, blubber rubbed on bones, and perhaps the bones of some of the animals on that planet that we didn't see are actually quite, volatile. They will burn.
What? This is where, it kind of pays not to get too logical, because it just hurts.
Son savages!
It's always fun when you have a character to put them in a new costume for a specific environment. They couldn't just walk around in their Jedi outfits, so we thought, let's make some Jedi snow gear. And let's base it on the jacket we like that Han Solo wore. We wanted to keep a stylization, not do like real hair or fur particles on the hood, so we just created a graphic shape and just kind of moved it.
Might we go inside, Master Anakin? R2 would like to get out of the cold.
We had to do then a snow trooper clone with it, and we wanted to do one that was kind of in between what we'd seen in Revenge of the Sith, and they are inspired very much by Ralph McQuarrie's original snow trooper designs that you see in very early Empire Strikes Back paintings. So visually, we were able to put a lot of cues in for people to grab onto.
I thought this planet was uninhabited.
Our moon of Pantora is the only civilization in this system. This wasteland belongs to us.
The Pantoran dignitaries are connected to George's own character, Baron Papanoida, the blue-skinned delegate you see in Revenge of the Sith, played by George. So they're from that same world, and this gets you a little look at the politics of their world, at one of the leaders of their world, and a senator from their world as well. You know, it was kind of neat to have this young girl senator and try and make her different from Padme, and really do a story where she is kind of earning her place, you know, replacing this kind of time-tested, more ruthless ruler, that maybe there's a change needed away from war.
Would you like me to represent Pantora in this matter?
Not on your life, Senator. There will be no diplomacy this time. Listen here, you savage.
You hear a lot of political talk about the Jedi's place versus the Senate's place.
This is now an internal affair of Pantora.
This episode then becomes a look into the way the Jedi operated prior to the war. Yes, they're commanding clone troopers. Yes, this episode takes place during the war. But you see Anakin and Obi-Wan acting in much more of a diplomatic function than we've seen. Normally they're acting like generals commanding a war. Here they're, you know, at one point Obi-Wan tells Chuchi that, no, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to resolve this problem for you. You got your people into this, you know, situation. You are going to have to get yourself out.
But I don't understand. The Jedi serve the Senate. I must order you to...
Senator, it is your people the Tals are at war with. If the violence is to stop, it is you who must represent your people.
The Jedi were working more as the arbitrator of the whole thing. It was a good way to show the past of the Jedi and the way they think, or at least Obi-Wan thinks they'll act in the future.
To die for one's people is a great sacrifice. To live for one's people, an even greater sacrifice. I choose to live for my people. What do you choose?